everyone. In this lecture, we are going to learn a very important Android operating system component that is called as the broadcast receivers, right? So, in Android operating system, broadcast receivers simply respond to some broadcasted messages, and these messages will be broadcasted. It means it will be sent from the other applications. Applications in this sense, it may be user defined applications or it may be built-in applications of the Android system, or sometimes these broadcasted messages will be sent from the Android operating system itself, right? Okay. So, the task of broadcast receiver is to receive a particular broadcasted messages. This message may be from applications or it may be from the operating system. Then broadcast receiver permits an Android operating system or other user defined applications to deliver the events to the applications, like sending a low battery notification or sending a network change notification, or sometimes sending a system reboot or restart, such type of message to the broadcast receivers. These messages are sometimes called as the events or intents. In previous lectures we have seen what is intents. So, in this case of broadcast receivers, these broadcasted messages are sometimes called as the intents as well as events. And sometimes the applications can also initiate a broadcast to let the other applications to know that some data has been downloaded to the device and it is available for them to use, so that whatever applications required that downloaded data, they can use it from the device, right? So, this broadcast receiver who will interpret this communication and will initiate the appropriate action. Okay. So, application which require that particular data, it will be notified through this broadcasted message and that application will take an appropriate action. And generally broadcast receiver is implemented as a subclass or derived class of the broadcast receiver class. Here the broadcast receiver is the built-in class of Android operating system, and whenever we want to create our own broadcast receiver, that class we should create a class which should be inherited from this broadcast receiver built-in class. As shown in this snapshot, there is a public class my receiver. This is the user defined broadcast receiver which is inherited from this broadcast receiver class. In Java, extends keywords is used to specify the inheritance, right? And there is one method that is called as the onReceive. So, whenever broadcasted message is received by the broadcast receiver, then it fires this onReceive method, and whatever action is to be performed, its definition should be written in this particular onReceive method of the broadcast receiver class, right? So, there are two important steps to make a broadcast receiver to be functional or to be working properly. The first step is to creating a broadcast receiver class which will be inherited from the built-in broadcast receiver class, and second step is to registering the broadcast receiver. Whatever broadcast receiver you have defined or implemented, it should be registered in the .xml file of the application. Okay. So, these two steps are in case if you are implementing the system, the broadcast messages which will be sent by the system. But in case if you create your own custom intents, then you will have to create as well as broadcast those intents. It means you should create the intents as well as you should broadcast that intents means message as well. But in case of the built-in broadcast receivers, there is no need to broadcast the message explicitly. So messages will be broadcasted or sent by the system itself. Just you have to create a broadcast receiver class, and then you have to register that class in the .xml file. And in case of the custom intents, you have to create a class, then you have to register a broadcast receiver, and as well as you have to send the broadcast message to the application as well. Right. Now how to create the broadcast receiver. So first of all, we will see how to create a broadcast receiver by the built-in broadcast messages, and then we will see how to create custom broadcast receivers. Okay. So as I said earlier, a broadcast receiver is implemented as a subclass of the inbuilt class whose name is broadcast receiver. And after implementing our own subclass from the broadcast receiver class, next step is to the onReceive method of the base class, that is broadcast receiver class, should be overridden in the inherited class with our required behavior. Okay. Right, required behavior in the sense how our application should react whenever that particular event is happened. That code should be written inside the body of this onReceive method. And generally this onReceive method accepts a parameter whose type is the intent object. Okay. So broadcast receiver method is overridden where each message is received as an intent object parameter. Right. So whenever that particular event is fired, then this onReceive method of the broadcast receiver will get that event as a type of intent object. And this code snippet shows you how to create your own broadcast receiver. This is in the case of custom intent. Okay. So this is there is a public class myReceiver which is inherited from the broadcast receiver. That is why myReceiver is also, we can see it is a one of the broadcast receiver class. And we have overridden this onReceive method. Now observe here the parameters of onReceive method. It accepts the application context as a first argument, and then second is the object of the intent class. Right. So and here in this onReceive method we are simply displaying a message that custom intent is detected using a toast class. So toast.makeTest, then context, it will get the current context of the application, and this is a string message which will be displayed on the screen for some a particular time, and this toast.length underscore long specifies this message will be displayed to this user for some long time as a flash message. Right. Then after creating our broadcast receiver class and implementing the onReceive method, next step is we have to register broadcast receiver in the .xml file. Right. So an application listens for specific broadcast intents. Here broadcast intents also called as the broadcast messages or broadcasted events. Okay. So an application listens for specific broadcast intents by registering a broadcast receiver in the Android manifest.xml file. For example, suppose we are going to register our user defined broadcast receiver whose name is myReceiver for the system generated event called as the action underscore boot underscore completed. Right. And this action is fired by an Android system once the Android system has completed the boot process. Okay. So boot process here is the same concept as that of the desktop operating systems. It means boot process is a process in which operating system is transferred from the secondary device to the main memory of that particular device. In the same, in case of the mobile devices or in case of the emulator, right. So whenever we start our mobile phone or restart our mobile phone, then an Android operating system which is stored onto the secondary storage device in your mobile phone, that operating system will be transferred from secondary storage or permanent storage into the main memory or RAM of the mobile device. This process is called as the boot process. And whenever this process is completed, an Android operating system broadcast a message called as the action underscore boot underscore completed. Okay, and suppose we are going to register our user defined broadcast receiver whose name is my receiver for this particular system generated event. Then suppose we are registered with this one. Now whenever Android device gets booted, it will be intercepted by this my receiver broadcast receiver whose name is my receiver, and then code inside the on receive method of this my receiver broadcast receiver class will be executed. Okay, so these are the steps for registering, and this code snippet will show you how to register your broadcast receiver with that particular action or particular event or intent. Right here, see this content of this is only snapshot of the Android manifest.xml file. This is not a complete snapshot. Okay, so that's why here is only application tag is shown here. This except this application tab, there are another information in the Android manifest.xml file as well, which we have seen in the previous lectures. Right, so here in application tag, this is a starting application tag, this is a closing application tag, and in between this tag there is another tag whose name is the receiver. Okay, this is receiver starting tag and this is receiver closing or ending tag. Right, and this Android colon name, this property of receiver specify the name of broadcast receiver class which we have implemented. Right, and the next tag inside the receiver tag is that is called as the intent filter tag. This is starting tag for intent filter and this is closing tag for the intent filter. Okay, and as we have seen in the previous lectures, intent filter resource have the two attributes. First one is the name and another is the action, but in case of broadcast receiver we need to only specify the name property or name attribute. Right, that's why here action property name is action and other property name is the category, which is not required in this particular case. So only action attribute is required for this intent filter. Right, and name of the action is specified using the Android colon name property or this syntax, and this is the system generated broadcasted message. It means android.intent.action.boot completed. Okay, so here we are registering our my receiver broadcast receiver with this system generated broadcast message or broadcast intent or event, so that whenever that particular device is booted, it means it's whenever its booting process is completed, then an Android operating system broadcast or send this predefined system generated message to this broadcast receiver whose name is the my receiver, and this message will be received in on receive method of this my receiver class as a object of the intent class. Right, we'll see in the detail in next slide. Okay, so there are several system generated events which are defined as the static fields in the intent class, and here are some important broadcast messages or broadcast events or system generated events that can be broadcasted by system whenever that particular event has been occurred. Right, so first broadcasted message is called as the battery underscore changed. Now here this android.intent.action, this part is common for all the broadcasted messages. Okay, so first is the messages battery underscore changed, and it should be always in uppercase letters and with underscore symbol. Okay, so this particular message will represent or it replaces that the broadcast containing the battery say charging state of the battery or battery level and other information about the battery. right? So whenever battery is changed, this particular message will be generated by the system. Then next is the battery underscore low. It indicates that the low battery condition on your device. It means if your battery of your mobile phone goes below some particular extent or particular threshold, then your device shows a pop-up message to you as a low battery. This is because whenever battery goes below below the predefined level, then the operating system or Android operating system generates this battery low message to the application, which is again built in the Android phone as well, and that application shows the battery low message. Okay. Similarly, another action is called as the battery underscore OK, and this message indicates that the battery is now OK after being low, right? It means after being a low, battery is OK, it will be indicated by this particular message. The next message is the boot underscore completed, right? And as its name suggests, this is a broadcasted once after the system has finished a booting. As I said earlier in this previous slide, whenever a system or say your Android phone has been completed its booting process, then this particular message is broadcasted by the operating system, right? The next is the call, and this is used to perform a call to someone specified by the data. As data we make a call to a particular receiver by using our keypad or using our contact list and say dialing, we can say a dialer user interface of the mobile phone, right? So programmatically we can also make a call using this particular action that is called as the intent android.intent.action.call message. Similarly, another method is called as date underscore changed, and this message is broadcasted by the system whenever date of your mobile phone or emulator has been changed. And next action is the reboot. Okay, so this message is generated by the system whenever your device has been restarted or rebooted. Right, so now we'll see how to broadcast custom intents. It means our own defined intents, right? So if there is a requirement that your user defined applications or your applications need to send a broadcast a custom intents or custom message, in that case, as a first step you have to create that particular broadcast receiver which extends the built-in broadcast receiver class, and then you have to send those intents by using send broadcast method inside your activity class. Okay, in case of the predefined intents or built-in intents, broadcast messages are sent by the or generated by the operating system itself. But in case of the custom intents, you explicitly have to send that broadcast message using the send broadcast method of the activity class, right? And here is a code snippet that shows you how to implement your custom intents, right? So here broadcast intent, this is the method of the activity class, and in this broadcast intent method we are creating the object of the intent class like this one using a new operator, right? And we are calling set action function on that particular intent, right? And set action functions, we are passing the name of our custom intent. In this case, this is the package, we can say package name of the that particular application. It means com.example.del.broadcast.receive.custom intent. Now the custom underscore intent, this is the user defined custom message. You can put any relevant message here, but I am here using the custom underscore intent. Okay, this is same as that of we were registering our broadcast receiver. with a particular action in the Android manifest.xml file, right? Similarly, here we can programmatically also we can set action to the that particular intent using the set intent function. Okay, and after creating the object of intent class and setting the action for that particular intent using set action method, next step is to broadcast that message using send broadcast function or send broadcast intent, which accepts the object of intent class. Okay, so here we have created intent class, we have set the action of that intent as well, and here we are sending this intent using a send broadcast function or send broadcast method. Okay, so whenever this custom say user defined broadcast message has been sent explicitly by the user application, then the user defined broadcast receiver may receive this custom intent into its own receive method, and appropriate action will be taken whatever behavior has been defined in that particular on receive method. Okay, now how to register custom broadcasting intents. Okay, so method for registering the custom broadcast intents or events is same as that of the system generated intents, right? And this code snippet is showing how to register our custom broadcasting intent. Okay, so here this is the part of Android manifest.xml file, but here we have only taken the snapshot of the receiver tag, right? So here receiver is the tag which specifies or which is used to register our broadcast receiver with the particular action. This is starting tag, and this specifies the name of our receiver. In this case, this is the my receiver is the name of broadcast receiver. This is the closing tag, and this is the intent filter starting tag, and this is the ending tag of the intent filter. And under intent filter we have setting the action name using the action tag and using the name attribute of the action tag as com.example.del.broadcast received underscore custom dot custom underscore intent. Okay, so this is our user defined custom broadcast message which will be registered with this broadcast receiver. Okay, in previous case, in case of system generated broadcast messages, here the string for name was the android.intent something class, and then dot name of the predefined system generated message. It will be battery underscore low or system or say rebooted or boot underscore completed, etc., etc. Okay, so in this way we can register our custom broadcast message into the Android manifest.xml file. Now we will see one practical example of the broadcast receiver. It means how these broadcast receivers have been actually implemented. We will see in this practical example. In this example, we will see the both methods. It means how to implement system generated broadcast intents or how to implement our custom broadcast intents as well, right? So while creating a broadcast receiver, first step is we have to create a user defined class which is extended from the inbuilt broadcast receiver class. Okay, I have created this application called as the broadcast receiver, and this is my receiver.java file which shows you this is the user defined broadcast receiver whose name is the my receiver, and it is inherited from the inbuilt broadcast receiver class. Now how to create this class? There are some certain steps. For that you need to click on the file button, then select new, and from this particular menu you have to select other. Okay, and from other you have to select the broadcast receiver. Okay, then next window will be open there. Here you have to give name of your broadcast receiver class. It may be anything as per your requirement. So in this case, suppose it is a my receiver 1. Now this there are two check boxes. First one is exported and another is the enabled. Okay. So whenever these two check boxes are checked, it will indicate that when your broadcast when you implement your broadcast receiver, then whatever messages will be sent or received by the particular broadcast receivers, that messages will also be available for the other applications on your device if these two check boxes are checked. Otherwise the message will not be available to the outside or other applications. Okay. After this, you have to just click on the finish button and your my receiver 1 broadcast receiver class may be say will be created automatically by the Android operating system. Okay. So I have already created my receiver broadcast receiver, that so I am not going to create one again one more broadcast receiver. So I will simply cancel this, but you remember the steps how to create your own broadcast receiver, right? And this is very simple broadcast receiver which has the method that is called as the on receive method, and this method is called whenever a particular intent or particular event is fired which is registered with this broadcast receiver in android.manifest file. Okay. So we will see which action is set to this particular broadcast receiver in the android manifest.xml file, and then we will return to this particular class for the definition of this on receive method. Okay. So this is android manifest.xml file of this particular application, and here if you see there are two receiver tags. This is first receiver tag and this is second receiver tag. Okay. So this first receiver tag is the registration of your custom broadcasted messages, right? See it carefully. Receiver, this is a tag, and this is a name property which specifies name of your broadcast receiver. Okay. So in this case, name of the broadcast receiver is the my receiver, and remember it should be preceded by the dot, right? So this my receiver name specifies that name of the file in which this particular receiver is implemented is its name is the my receiver dot java. So this is the name of the class which implement the that particular broadcast receiver. Then you carefully observe the second attribute which is the intent filter, and what action is set into this inside a filter intent filter to this particular my receiver broadcast receiver. Okay. So if you observe it, the name of this action is set to the com.example.del.broadcast receiver dot custom underscore intent. Okay. So in this particular string, up to this point it is the package name of your application. Okay. If you see here under Java folder, this is the name of package. Okay. So your action custom intent message should be specified in this way. It means name of the package, then dot the name of your custom action or custom intent, right? So this is the package name, and then dot custom underscore intent. This is the our custom broadcast message. You can specify any message as per our requirement that reflects your particular action, right? In this way we are registering this custom intent to this broadcast receiver whose name is my receiver. Okay. Now we will come to the my receiver.java file and observe this definition of the on receive class. As I said earlier, it accepts two parameters. One is application context, another is the intent. Now this intent is nothing but whatever message is broadcasted, that message will be received into this particular object. Okay. So here we are not going to process this intent object. We are only displaying one message to the user, that is using a toast class, that is that message is custom intent detected. Okay. So whenever this particular custom intent is fired by that particular application, then this method will be called at that particular time. Now question is, in case of system generated broadcast messages, system itself sends that broadcast messages, but in case of custom broadcast intent, who will send the message? Okay. And answer is, these messages should be explicitly sent by the user using some user interface, right? So to clear this particular thing, now we will go to the main activity layout file of the main activity.java file. It means it is activity_main.xml. Okay, and this is the definition or design of your activity_main.xml file, right? Here user interface is very simple. This is the title of the application, example of the broadcast receiver. This is nothing but a text view. If you see its text view, then this is a text view object which shows you this text. It is example of the broadcast receiver. Okay, so if you see its text property here, example of the broadcast receiver. And then second UI control placed here is that this is the button control whose name is broadcast custom intent. That's why it is showing as the broadcast custom intent. Okay. Now, as I said earlier, in case of the custom broadcast methods, you have to explicitly send the broadcast messages. Okay, that is why using some user interface. That is why you have created this user interface, right? So whenever user clicks this particular button, broadcast custom intent, then one particular action will be taken. Okay, and when user clicks on this particular button, which method should be called? It is specified using this onClick property of the button. Okay, so Android onClick is equal to broadcast intent. This is the name of method which will be called when this particular button is clicked, right? And definition of this broadcast intent method will be defined in the main activity.java file, right? Okay, so this is the user interface for which is required to generate the custom broadcast intent or custom broadcast message. Okay, now as far as our system generated messages are concerned, there is no need to define or design any user interface, because these messages are sent by the system itself. That is why such a system generated broadcast messages will not require any user interface. Okay, now we will move towards the definition of the my activity.java file. Okay, as usual, here are some import statements which are required to run this particular application, and this is the main activity class which is inherited from the app compact activity. Okay, and here one more thing is remaining. Now this myReceiver.java is a file which implements our custom broadcast intents. Okay, now we will see how to implement the system generated broadcast messages. For that, I have created the another class whose name is the connectivity receiver. Okay, I have created this class using the same steps that is select file, new, then go to the other and select on broadcast receiver. Here type the name as a connectivity receiver and click on the finish button. Steps are same. Okay, and this particular connectivity receiver class, what it does, whenever your networks means see mobile network is disconnected or it is reconnected, then this particular broadcast receiver will receive that intent and it will show a particular message to the user, right? Now in the Android manifest.xml file you can see how this connectivity receiver broadcast receiver is registered with the particular action. Okay, so this first receiver tag was about custom broadcast intents, and this second receiver tag is for the system generated message. As you see here, name of the receiver is the connectivity receiver, which is the name of the class in which we have implemented this particular broadcast receiver. Then second thing, observe the name of action here in the intent filter tag. Okay, so name of action is given as android.net.conn.connectivity_change, right? This is the system generated message or system generated broadcast intent, and this intent is sent or generated by the operating system whenever there is a change in the network connectivity. Okay, so we have registered this action with this particular my connectivity receiver, and that is why whenever there is a change in network, then Android operating system will send this message to our this broadcast receiver whose name is the connectivity receiver. Okay, and whenever this particular intent is generated by a system, the onReceive method of this connectivity receiver class will be called, which is this one. Again, parameters are same in this class as well. So first is the context and another is the intent object. Okay, context indicates the context of the current application or current class, and the intent object reflects the whatever broadcast intent has been received into this object, right? Now we are checking here if now we are processing this intent. If intent.getAction equals android.net.conn.connectivity_change. Okay, because we have been registered this particular system generated message with this broadcast receiver. That is why we are checking whether this system whatever message has been generated by system, this is equal to this particular message. Okay, and if it is true, then this code will be executed there. Okay, now what we are doing here we are creating the object of one connectivity manager class. Okay, and while creating the object of connectivity manager class, we are getting a service system using get system service and passing the context.connectivity service. This is again predefined message of the system. Okay, and then we are again creating the object of the class whose name is the network info. So network info active network is equal to connection manager dot get active network information. Okay, so in these two statements we are getting the information of the current active network. Okay, and here we are checking if network is connected or not using this active network dot active network not equal to null and active network dot is connecting. Okay, whatever value will be written into this particular is connect. If it is true, then network is connected, otherwise network is not connected. Okay, so here we are checking with if statement. If is connected, it means if the value written in this particular is connected variable is true, then it will display a message that is network is connected. Okay, and if this is a false, then it will display message network is changed or it is reconnected, right? So this is the definition of connectivity receiver, broadcast receiver, which is implemented to show you the system generated broadcast message, that is called as the connectivity change. It means when there is a change in network connectivity, then this broadcast receiver will receive that message and it will show the appropriate message to the user, right? Now coming to the definition of our main activity class. Here we are creating the objects of two classes, and both classes are of type broadcast receiver classes. So first object is for connectivity receiver, which is for the system generated broadcast intent for the network change in network connectivity, and another is the object of the intent filter class, which is used to initialize the intent filter for our say a system generated broadcast intent. Okay, and here observe the definition of this onCreate function. As usual, there are these two functions, super dot onCreate and set content view, which will set the layout view of this main activity XML file to this particular activity. Now next is whatever object we have declared here, we are initializing or defining that, creating that object using new operator here. So receiver is equal to new connectivity receiver. Okay, we are creating the object of our user defined broadcast receiver using this particular statement. Okay, and now intent filter, we are creating again the object of the intent filter using new operator like this one. So intent filter equal to new intent filter, and we are initializing this intent filter with the system generated broadcast intent message, whose name is the android.net.conn.connectivity underscore change. Okay, this, if you observe it carefully, this string and a string which is we have specified in the android manifest.xml file as a name of action is same. Okay, and it should be same to work your application properly, right? Next step is to, here this particular statement or a particular method is for broadcasting our custom intent. Now as I said earlier in the layout definition of the layout file, here see the definition of this particular button control. Its onClick property is set to the broadcast intent. It means whenever this button is clicked, then a method whose name is broadcast intent will be called, and its definition will be in the main activity.java file. Okay, so this broadcast intent method is nothing but it is the name of this particular method, which will be called when this particular button is clicked. From the design view, when we click or user clicks this particular button, then it calls this broadcast intent method, and whatever code is written here, it will be executed. Okay, so in theory explanation I have explained this, so I think there is no need to explain it again and again. So here we have created object of the intent class, we have set its action, and we have sent this broadcast using send broadcast method by passing the object of intent class. Okay, now in activity lifecycle topic, we have seen through which states that particular activity goes and which are the callback different callback methods for that life cycle of the activity. Okay, so here we have overridden two methods of this activity, that is the main activity, and these methods are onResume and onDestroy. This is because if your activity is sent to the background and it is reopened again, then this onResume function will be called. Okay, and in this onResume function we are registering our receiver using the register receiver method. Okay, and we are passing two parameters to this register receiver method. First one is the object of receiver class, right? And in this class, this receiver object is the type of connectivity receiver, okay, which we have implemented for the system generated broadcast intent, whose name is the connectivity underscore change, right? And another parameter is the intent filter, which we have created in the onCreate function here, and we have set this intent filter with this particular system generated message. Okay, and in onDestroy method, we are unregistering the receiver using unregister method and by passing the object of receiver class. Okay, the receiver is the object of the, again it is the object of connectivity receiver broadcast receiver, right? So whenever this register receiver method is called, it will register our connectivity say connectivity receiver broadcast receiver with this particular main activity. Okay, and whenever there is a network change, then it will call the onReceive function of this particular connectivity receiver class, and this code will be executed. If network is disconnected, it will show this message to the user, and if network is connected, then it will show this message to the user. Okay, now we will run this application and we will observe the behavior of this application. So I will click on this run application button. Then I will select the first AVD and click on the OK button. Okay, it is starting AVD. It will take some time, right? AVD has been started, but to load the Android operating system from the secondary device, in this case it is emulated secondary device, into this emulated phone, it will take some time, and this process is called as the booting process. But here we are not considering booting process, we are concerned with the network change event which is generated by the operating system. Okay, this is booting process is in progress. It means Android operating system is loading into the RAM of this emulator. Say here Android is starting. See, it is launching an activity. Now our application will be started on the emulator. Okay, it will take some time to load the user interface from the activity_main.xml file. Right. So this is the user interface of our application. Okay, as I said earlier, whenever user clicks on this broadcast custom intent button, then the onReceive method of the myReceiver class will be called, right? Because we have registered our custom broadcast message with this myReceiver broadcast receiver class in activity say Android manifest.xml file using this receiver tag. Okay, and whenever there is a network change in this particular emulator or on actual, if you are running this application on actual phone, if in that case if there is a change in the network of your mobile phone, then this particular system generated intent has been sent to the application, and it is handled by the connectivity receiver class, because this message or this action is registered with this particular connectivity receiver class, which is type of the broadcast receiver, and onReceive method of this class will be called in case there is a change in the network connectivity, right? I think it's this explanation is enough for the working of this to broadcast intents. Okay. Now first of all we will generate custom intents by clicking on this particular button. Okay. So as soon as I click on this button, then on receive method of this my receiver class will be called, and custom intent detected, this message will be shown to the user. So I click on this particular button and it will display the message custom intent detected. Again I will click on the message and same message will be displayed here, right? It means our custom broadcast intent functionality is working properly. Okay. Now we will see how to observe the system generated event that is called as the network change or connectivity underscore change. For that, so minimize this application by clicking on this button. Okay, so minimize it and click on this home screen, then go to the settings, click on the settings of your emulator or mobile phone, and from here click on data usage. Okay. Here there is one say toggle button which is for cellular data. Okay. So click on this. Currently it is off, it means there is no data connectivity. So click on this. As soon as I click on this button, then Android operating system will generate this particular message and it will be sent to the broadcast receiver which is received for that particular message. In this case, for this particular message, this connectivity receiver broadcast receiver has been registered in the Android manifest.xml file here, right? So I click on this and it is showing network is connected. Okay. So when I make the cellular data on, then this if statement is being executed, and under this if statement, this first if statement has been executed. That's why it is showing network is connected. Now if I disable or make it off as a cellular data, then it will show a message as the network is changed or reconnected. So observe this one, it is showing network is changed or reconnected. Okay, observe it again. I will make it on, network is connected, and disable it, it is showing network is changed or reconnected. Okay. Now I will close this first application, which means settings application, and I will open this application. So as soon as I open this application again, currently it is at the background. Okay. So as soon as I bring it to the say foreground, then the on resume method of this class will be called, and again this receiver will be registered, and again this message will be shows not this message, it will detect what is the state of the network. If it is connected, then it will show this message, otherwise it will show the second message. Okay. Now we will see what happens. Okay, right now there is no network, that is why it is showing network is changed or reconnected. Okay. So in this way we can implement broadcast receiver for custom broadcast intents as well as from system generated broadcast intent. Okay. So thank you for listening. Here we will stop for this lecture.